Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was this dam. It was built in 2 days. In honor of this story, I actually wore my Bucky shirt today. Leave it to nature to do what humans can't. Officials in the Czech Republic have been going back and forth for years concerning the construction of a dam just south of Prague. The project has been in the works since 2018. The purpose of the dam was to protect the Klobava River from toxic water coming from 2 nearby ponds. The river is home to a critically endangered species of crayfish, so the poor water quality from surrounding ponds could further harm the population. But like everything else in government, the project was tied up in red tape. That was until a family of beavers showed us how it's done. Thanks to their dam building skills, the water-loving rodents had it built before the humans even had their boots on. This created a wetland with pools and canals even bigger and better than conservationists were hoping for. But the beavers didn't stop there. Conservationists were hoping to later add a few smaller dams for overspill purposes in a gully that encircled the area. But the busy beavers took care of that too.
Busy, Sonny, busy. Can't stop the gossip now. Gotta slide this sycamore to the swamp.
So far, they've built 4 dams and they're working on more. Oh, and before I forget, welcome to the Goodish news channel. I'm Ashley, your professional pessimist. If you're anything like me, you're probably tired of hearing the same old depressing news stories of crime, politics, crime in politics, inflation, climate change, the cost of eggs. You get the idea. Well, here I ignore all that stuff and only bring you news stories that won't leave you feeling worse than when you got here. So if that sounds good to you, stick around and maybe click that little like button if you're feeling generous. Now back to the beavers. The Czech Republic is inhabited by the Eurasian beaver. Like a lot of animals, this species was brought to the brink of extinction, thanks to humans, with only 1,200 left in the wild at the turn of the 20th century. This caused some big problems environmentally, so conservation efforts were enacted. Thanks to those measures, the beavers' numbers are now around 1.5 million. Obviously, they love to eat trees, but aspen and willow are their favorites. Beaver teeth are high in iron, which gives them their incredible strength. The iron does have an unfortunate side effect though. Get ready for a jump scare. Don't say I didn't warn you, but yeah, they have orange teeth. While they won't be winning any awards for best smile, beavers have some other cool features. They're fantastic swimmers, clocking speeds at 5 miles an hour, which is about twice as fast as the average human. And they can hold their breath up to 15 minutes. Eat your heart out, Michael Phelps. They're the second largest rodent in the world. First place goes to the adorable capybara. Also, I know I shouldn't think rodents are cute, but come on. The largest beaver dam on record is located in the Wood Buffalo National Park in Alberta, Canada. This is called the Lac St. Clair Beaver Dam. It's 2,790 feet long. To put that into perspective, the Empire State Building is 1,250 feet tall. So these tree chompers more than doubled that length. And yes, it is visible from space. I actually don't know if that was a question in your head, but it was a question in my head. Beavers use dams to create ponds so they can build their lodges. These lodges have entrances that are only accessible underwater. This keeps the beavers safe from predators like wolves and bears. While I personally find their dam building capabilities pretty awesome, the beaver is not without its critics. Unfortunately, the beaver just doesn't care about property lines and water rights. They'll build a dam wherever they see fit and they don't need a permit. This can result in farmers losing access to water or the destruction of trees. And believe it or not, some people don't want their trees destroyed. But this is a beaver's world and we're just living in it. Environmentalists love beavers for their ability to protect against flooding, and their dam building creates wetlands for other animals, just like the case in the Czech Republic. Because of nature's little engineers, the local government can thank beavers for saving them $1.2 million. And let's face it, they got it done way faster than any team of humans could have. An upstate New York jail is home to some pretty hardened criminals, but none are harder than its newest intake. Actually, I'm pretty sure Loretta is a good time, because anyone who requests a jail tour to celebrate their 104th birthday has to be pretty fun. Loretta is a resident at Avon Nursing and Rehabilitation in Avon, New York. And on February 8th, she turned 104. When asked what she wanted for her birthday, Loretta said she wanted to go to jail, because she'd never been before. Like I said, she seems like a good time. The staff at the Livingston County Jail were more than happy to grant Loretta's wish. Not only did they give her a tour, but they also celebrated with cake. She got to see the inner workings of the facility, including meeting a canine officer and learning about the jail surveillance system. No word yet on what she chose for her first prison tattoo or her thoughts on the prison wine. When asked what the secret is to a long life, Loretta replied, "Mind your business." Sound advice. and that's probably how she stayed out of prison for 104 years. Researchers at the University of Cambridge might be on the brink of something pretty revolutionary. For decades, scientists have been working on methods to remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. One of these methods is called carbon capture and storage, or CCS for short. These systems typically use a special filtration process to remove CO2 from emissions coming from power plants or manufacturing facilities. This is done before the emissions enter the atmosphere. However, up until this point, CCS systems are pretty energy intensive, expensive to operate, and often rely on fossil fuels. It kind of seems like it defeats the purpose. Another issue with these systems is the captured CO2 has to be stored somewhere. It's stored deep underground for safety reasons, but scientists aren't quite sure how well this will hold up long term. Researchers at the University of Cambridge have developed a CCS system that runs on solar power rather than fossil fuels, and it uses a method that converts CO2 into a usable liquid fuel rather than storing it underground. At night, the system pulls carbon dioxide from the air, kind of like a sponge soaking up water. Then during the day, the sun heats up the captured CO2, triggering a chemical reaction that converts it into something called syngas. Syngas can be used to make fuel for lots of different things like cars and airplanes, and it can even be used in the pharmaceutical and chemical sector. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that this will magically neutralize all the CO2 in the atmosphere. What this system would do is allow us to basically reuse the carbon dioxide as fuel. And when that fuel is used, the byproduct is going to include CO2, but that CO2 can then be recaptured and reused over and over again. So while it's not a giant magic eraser for the sky, it will allow us to remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and use that as fuel without adding more CO2 to the atmosphere. This is what's known as a circular sustainable economy. It's a great way to use what we already have while reducing the need for more fossil fuel. I think the Lorax would be happy about that.
You done good, Beanpole. You done good.
This last story is a little self-indulgent on my part, so forgive me for that. But the Westminster Kennel Club crowned a giant Schnauzer named Monty as Best in Show. This is the third year in a row that Monty made it to the final three, but this time he finally pulled off the win. This is the first time a giant Schnauzer has won Best in Show, and Monty beat out 2,500 other dogs to claim the prize. Westminster has been held annually since 1877, making it the second oldest continuously held sporting event in the US, after the Kentucky Derby. While the main event is for purebred dogs only, Westminster now includes an agility competition that's open to mixed breeds as well. Most people are probably more familiar with the standard or miniature Schnauzer, but the Giant is in a league all its own. All three Schnauzer breeds originated in Germany, and they were bred to be farm dogs. Giants were used for herding, carting, and they made a good guard dog. They can get up to 27.5 inches at the shoulder and weigh 95 pounds. These dogs are stocky and strong, but they're also very smart. These are the types of dogs that need a job, or they might get into a little bit of trouble. They have a lot of energy and a desire to be active. They're very good police and military dogs, and they're used in search and rescue. If it sounds like I'm a fangirl of the Schnauzer, you would be right. I grew up with one. Well, not a giant, but a miniature, and it was the smartest dog I've ever owned. Shout out Reggie. Our boy Monty is 5 years old and is the first dog in the working group to win the top prize since 2004. The Westminster Kennel Club is a 3-day event. Dogs are judged on proportion, weight, size, movement, and temperament, among other things. According to the judge, Monty embodied all the proper criteria to win the title. And I can tell you this, I'm not sad about it. Just look at this beautiful dog.
The giant Schnauzer Monty. They know Monty.
While the Beaver definitely won't win the award for Best Smile, Monty might. If you're looking for more good news in your life, be sure to check out my video from last week where I discuss a half marathon featuring some unconventional runners, a rare violin that sold for over $11 million at auction, and an unexplained birth at an aquarium in Louisiana. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and we can ignore all the bad news together.